Hello, everybody. Hope you had a great holiday break. I know I enjoyed mine. Watched a lot of football. It's one thing I missed though. I didn't see any Penn State and the Lions playing this weekend. This past holiday break. Just kidding, just kidding. But anyway, hope you guys had a great holiday break. I hope you had time to spend with your family and enjoyed and relaxed a little bit, because we all know that this past year has been hectic, and we're just going to be optimistic and keep moving forward. We're going to have a great time and try to really just get through this and just light at the end of the tunnel. So moving forward here, we're going to get to the 1920s. We just finished up World War One. Finally, I know, right? It took a long time, but there's a lot of really just massive events going on, significant events going on during World War One, which will shape history and significant events moving forward, and it's really a springboard into where we're getting into modern times. Okay, obviously things will change a little bit after World War II, but for the most part, World War One is that first significant event at the world stage where America is finally becoming this world power, and we can see the United States becoming more involved in world affairs, world events. All right, so real quick, bell ringer for today. Describe why the 1920s were called the Roaring Twenties. So I'll let you guys work on that for a little bit. Pause the video, please, and I'll give you some time to do that, and I'll move on here. So if you haven't done so, pause the video, and I'm going to discuss it here shortly. All right, here we go. So the 1920s, why was it called the Roaring Twenties? One of the main things is that we see a advancement in modern times, right? We see the United States finally pushing this threshold where we're no longer, well, we still are, but we are moving out of that developmental stage at the world level. Okay, that we're moving to this industrialized stage, and where people will have more opportunities to spend the money that they have with the capitalist economy, and they can buy and purchase different types of items. Okay, we see the creation of leisure events. Okay, we see the sporting events. Okay, there's a lot of things going on in the 1920s which causes a change of lifestyle for many Americans. And one of the big significance of that one of the big components of why the United States is changing their um, their their stance in the world is because World War One. All right, America hasn't seen the effects of the war like the rest of the world. Okay, specifically Europe, where many of the world's markets depended on the European markets and their production. And let's face it, it's all destroyed. After World War One, there's only one country really standing that can supply the rest of the world with different types of products. Okay, rebuilding, and we see a strong dependency from the world on the American market, on the American economy. Okay, and we didn't lose that many troops, soldiers, men, right, as many of the other European countries. Okay, it was really almost just another stepping stone for the United States to see and be viewed as a world power. And with the Roaring Twenties, as America is becoming more dominant, stronger, okay, more prosperous, okay, we see a lot more time for Americans, for the people to really just, I guess you could say, just celebrate their lifestyle, right? No longer are they working in these factories, 16, 18 hours a day. Through the progressive era, they finally have scheduled times, limit the work week to 8 hours a week, or 8 hours a day, sorry, 40 hours a week for most people. And they could spend their time whatever that way they would like. So, and it also caused, with the assembly line, caused a ability for people to purchase items at a very low amount. So it made it very affordable for many Americans to buy and purchase different types of appliances and things that they could spend their time with, like radios. Okay, eventually TVs, but that won't come around in the 1920s too often yet. But the radios were big. Okay, many people sat around the radio and listened to different types of talk shows, sporting events, you name it. And again, this was just a total change of what we see ever in American history is shifting towards this modern style of living. That's why they call it the Roaring Twenties. Okay, at the end of World War One, America was prosperous. We were producing a lot of items for the rest of the world. Many people had jobs, and we see the appearance of different types of leisure activities, sporting events, talk shows, you name it, entertainment as a whole. And things were just very, things, items, appliances were very affordable for the American people. All right, there you go. That's a bell ringer. Moving on now, real quick. Here's the pretest. So again, guys, I'll give you some time. You can pause the video and then fill out this pretest. So please pause the video, complete the pretest, and I'll go over it with you. And then you just turn it in, okay? I'll attach it to the post as well. So if you want to work on it that way, that's fine too. Okay, number one, the most popular silent film star of the 1920s, we have Charlie Chaplin. That's funny, he's a comedian. Okay, there's a couple of clips I'll show in class how he is really just changing the style of entertainment, right? We finally see movies, and we see, they're called talkies, right? And silent films. And Charlie Chaplin was one of the famous silent film stars and comedians. Hey, he would just kind of run around and find himself in these terrible situations and running into things. It's almost like a Three Stooges type of comedy, but before the Three Stooges. And he was always known for his mustache. A lot of people say Hitler got it from Charlie Chaplin. Who knows, right? Charlie Chaplin thought it was kind of a different style of what a mustache is, and he thought it would bring more laughs if he looked a little different. And that's why he had it. Two, first man to fly nonstop across the Atlantic Ocean, we have Charles Lindbergh. Charles Lindbergh. So yeah, famous feat. Okay, he was the first person to fly across the Atlantic. I believe he flew out of New York City to France, and this was groundbreaking. This never has been done before. And we know in World War One that these planes were very limited of what they could do. Obviously, towards the end of the war, they're getting more advanced, how fast they could fly, the weapons that were attached to it, you name it. But now all of a sudden, we're taking trips all the way across the Atlantic Ocean in a short 5-10 years. Crazy stuff. Interesting fact about Charles Lindbergh, there's a story about his child being abducted and taken, and it's still one of these unsolved mysteries today. What happened? Who knows? Okay, many people thought that whoever took his child wanted a large sum of money, which they did, and everybody knew who Charles Lindbergh was. He was like the most famous man in the world at the time. As Chase and Colin would think, he's like Sylvester Stallone. 3, those who believed in science and secular views believe that Scopes shouldn't be punished for teaching what he taught. Okay, and this is an attack on modernism. Okay, it's an attack on modernism. So modernism, what we talk about today a little bit more, this is something to do along the lines of evolution and accepting sciences and really just stepping away from the traditional style of schooling and teachings, which is mostly done through Bible and religious aspects. And this was a huge shock to many people, especially in the South, where these traditional fundamentalist values were still held on to very, very tight, and by many key politicians. And you can even say today that religion is still used in many decisions-based political matters. And this was really one of the groundbreaking court cases, the Scopes Monkey trial, that really just challenged religious aspects, okay, fundamentalist traditional views, and whether or not we should be teaching these new scientific methods and theories that are being developed. So it's a clash in American lifestyle. 4, a way of producing a product much faster through giving each other a particular part of the job. Assembly line. So assembly line, we all know with Ford manufacturing, creating Model Ts, making automobiles, great things, but they're applying it now to everyday appliances so they can make it more affordable for the American people to purchase these items and increase the style of living. Okay, let's face it, not many people, not many countries around the world have the things we do. even today, right? And that's something that we can take pride in. That our style of living is, really extraordinary compared to other places. And the assembly line, if we produce more products, create a larger supply, that price will diminish. It will lower, making it more affordable for people to purchase these items. All right, these people emphasize Christian beliefs and believe that only the Bible said was true. Belief Scopes was 100% wrong. And these are the fundamentalist views, okay? Fundamentalism. And that's a traditional style of belief where you're just stuck in traditional viewpoints. You're going by the Bible, religious talk, okay, religious rhetoric, and you're really not accepting of new scientific views as it might challenge your beliefs, right? And that was the clash during the 1920s. And we'll see the temperance movement emerging from this clash between two groups of people, two viewpoints where America should move in the moderate direction, move in a belief where we can accept more scientific values, or we stay in traditional modernist style or traditional fundamentalist style of living. All right, there you go. There's a pretest. Moving on today, real quick. Just 3 slides. Well, 2 technically. So the Roaring Twenties, life and culture in America in the 1920s. Here we go. Look at that picture. Having a great time, dancing in a ball. Right. Well, again, many Americans saw leisure time. Okay, they never had it before in their lives. It's always work, 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 work. Now we can kick back, relax, as we have many products, the assembly line helping many Americans kind of almost relax in a way. Right. They're not working these tireless long days and in the factories and the industries. They're kind of kicking back and set regulated time. I mean, yeah, there's some businesses that still work those hours, like coal mines, many farming occupations, you name it. But for the most part, many Americans see a drawback in their work hours. A lot of that has to do with the Progressive Era, which we talk about chapter 1, and with World War One. Okay, yeah, production was zooming, but the assembly line is what we can really thank for that. All right, changing ways of life. During the 1920s, urbanization continued to accelerate. Okay, we talked about this during the Progressive Era, how businesses, industries were forming in these large areas, these large cities. And as you know, these cities are located towards places where there's transportation located. So, right, Pittsburgh, right, we all know, being located around 3 rivers. New York City, right there on the harbor. Philly, same thing. Delaware River's right there. And, Baltimore, Chesapeake Bay. Okay, there's a lot of areas of these bigger cities because of transportation. And they can get these resources and supplies out to other areas quick and fast. For the first time, more Americans lived in cities than in rural areas. So the first time ever. For many, many years, since the beginning of the country, Thomas Jefferson especially, he believed the way of America was through agrarian style farming. Okay, creating and supplying the rest of the world with the items, resources that we have plentiful of in the United States. But now all of a sudden, we're seeing a modernist view, we're seeing a modernist change where the industrialization is taking hold in the United States. And these products, these different types of items are being produced at a fast alarming rate and really just making almost a what would I say, affordable style living for many Americans. So New York City was home to over 5 million people in 1920, obviously way more today. Chicago, nearly 3 million people. Again, obviously way more today, but still, that's a huge, large population. And a lot of these people are going to these larger cities for a better opportunity, a different lifestyle. Okay. All right, real quick. So throughout the 1920s, Americans found themselves caught between urban and rural cultures. Right? This was a shock to many Americans as the urban cities, these new trends, these new lifestyles, these new customs were being developed, which really challenged many of the traditional fundamentalist style of living in the rural areas. Okay, this was never seen before. And for many of these people that lived in the rural areas, out in the countryside, this was a shock. They couldn't believe it. Right? They're just like, oh, I can't believe the way they live in the urban cities. It's a faster pace of life. There's new styles of clothing that really is crazy. Women are wearing clothing that shows skin. This is unbelievable. It shouldn't be allowed. Entertainment, going to different types of clubs, drinking, spending their time and spending their money pretty much freelessly, to just live in the moment. And for many traditionalists, this was a shock. They couldn't believe it. And still today, I think we can look back and at our grandparents, maybe great grandparents, right? And they would be in shock too of what we wear today and what style of music we live and listen to today. What types of things we do for entertainment. Okay, a lot of times I know my grandmother when I was growing up, she'd always shake her head. I can't believe you're playing video games. I can't believe you're playing video games. It's like, well, it's fun. I like it. I enjoy it. It's something different than what she used to do for fun. Okay. Same thing with the music I listened to. I used to listen to I still do, a lot of rock, harder rock. She goes, oh, this is the devil music. I can't believe you're listening to these things. Well, you should listen to the things that kids listen to nowadays, right? So it's just a huge shock, a huge change in lifestyle during this time, which really many people couldn't comprehend. Okay, this was a constant butting of heads between these two styles of people and groups. One in the urban, one in the rural, out in the agrarian lifestyle. Two different clashes. All right, that's all I got for today. Take care, and please stay safe, and have a great day.